What's up, guys? My name is Gabe and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. As we speak, there is a massive junior day event going on at USC. It is a star-studded cast of 4- and 5-star players. I'm sure we're going to have a ton of news coming out of this weekend. But as we wait for that all to unfold, this is episode 22 of the viewer comment series. This is always a really fun one to do, so let's just get right into it. Remember, if you want to be featured, follow me on Twitter, keep an eye out on my YouTube community page, or join the Trojan Blade Discord that is down below in the description. I'll make a post there calling for comments or questions, and then I'll pick some of them, and then they will be featured here on the channel. So yeah, excited to get into it. Please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But getting us started here, we have my man Sacramento Trojan, aka 916 Trojan, an absolute must follow over on Twitter. But he asked, with USC finally putting their focus on California first, who's a recruit you want them to target heavy? I say current Georgia commit, Mission Viejo wide receiver Vance Spafford. Dude is a route running demon. So I have three for you. Vance is absolutely one of them. That is one of the most underrated players in the entire country. The route running is insane. The hands are nasty. This guy is going to be an absolute monster no matter where he goes in college. Why it took us this long to start seriously recruiting him, I have no idea. But Chad Savage is on it. Chad Bowden is on it. The USC Chads are absolutely going to lock down the state of California. And man, for me, that starts with Vance. This is a plug and play wide receiver, can absolutely contribute as a true freshman. He's only going to get bigger. He's only going to get stronger. Love everything about his game. Next up is another receiver, and that's Chris Henry Jr. Of course, he just transferred to Mater Dei. He is an Ohio State commit. He was also at the junior day today. Number 3 wideout in the country, number 2 player in the state of California, an absolute monster. 6'5", 205, all the athleticism you could possibly want, knows how to use his body, a very good contested catch guy, but also a good route runner, knows how to play the wide receiver position. He's an absolute tactician. If we could somehow manage to get Vance and Chris in this class, that's game changing, that's game breaking. That would be a massive win for this USC offense. And then number 3 is going to be Caleb Tafua. He's a 4-star tight end from Lakewood that's currently committed to Texas A&M. This kid is the real deal at the tight end position. 6'4", 215, but he has one of those frames that's going to be incredibly easy to put weight on. Really feel like we have a very good chance with this kid. Long street flipping from A&M to SC obviously helps a lot. And with Chad Savage being the kind of recruiter he is, I would not be at all shocked to see us get this one done and get it done soon. Next up, we have the angry Angelino asking, who do you think is going to break out next year that isn't on most people's radar? Is there someone on the roster you think will benefit the most from the offseason coaching changes? So I'll give you one from each side of the ball. On the offense, I think it's going to be Walker Lyons. I talked about it in my projected offensive starting lineup video, but I do think he is going to finish the year as the tight end 1. I know he's really not off of people's radar, but for a guy that isn't currently starting, I think he fits that criteria. And then defensively, I'm going to say watch out for Elijah Newby. The intelligence mixed with the strength and speed, it's just a combination you don't see very often. When he catches up physically to the rest of the guys in the linebacker room, he could have a serious role on this defense, and I think he's going to be a weapon when he's out there. So that's a guy I would watch for sure. Next up from C-Train over on the Trojan Blade Discord, he asks any rumblings or thoughts on the vacant OC position. So for me, who's going to be the offensive coordinator is completely irrelevant. As you guys know, I have a lot of doubts and questions about Lincoln Riley, but his ability as a schemer and play caller is not one of them. I think he had some really bad moments this year with the play calling. I thought he really hung Miller Moss out to dry in that Washington game, but that's not who Lincoln Riley is. We've seen who he is over the course of his head coaching career, and he's a brilliant offensive mind. There's no way around that. So they can name anybody the offensive coordinator. It's not going to change what we do on offense. It's not going to change the play caller. So I assume he'll give the title to one of the assistant coaches. Don't think we're going to bring anybody in for it. If I had to guess anybody, I'd probably say Luke Heward at this point. Now, working off of that last question, this is 707Hunter63 on Twitter. He asked, will Lincoln Riley actually learn from the second half of this season and lean more in the run game going forward? I mean, man, you would have to think so. If he doesn't this year, then he probably never will. This team is absolutely going to be built to run the ball, both with the offensive line and the running backs. We have to be a run-first team in 2025, especially if our quarterback is Jaden Mayava or Hassan Longstreet. I mean, goodness gracious, I am not comfortable with either one of them throwing the ball 40+ times. Absolutely not. You would think that Lincoln Riley is too smart of a coach to not use that approach this year. And I get it, he likes the quarterback to count the box, he likes them to make the decision. You run or pass depending on the numbers. But man, sometimes you just have to run the damn ball. When you go up to Seattle and you're playing the #1 pass defense in the Big Ten, and it's raining, and your quarterback is lacking confidence, and your pass protection is really bad, you should probably run the ball. And we didn't do that this year, and it absolutely cost us games. That has to change going forward, and I have to believe and tell myself that it is going to change going forward. Because guys, if it doesn't, what are we doing here? But let's be positive, let's hold out hope. Quite simply, with the backs in line we have to be a run-first team. End of discussion, in my opinion. Next up, from Frisky Dingo over on Twitter, he says, early commitments. I'm doing the air quotes as I read that. We have a huge recruiting weekend this weekend, and I obviously expect we're going to get some big commitments after this weekend. We also had Isaiah Gibson, Justice Terry, and Hilton Stubbs committed after our big recruiting weekend last March, and they were all decommitted by week 1. Do you think the addition of Chad Bowden will help us not lose as many commitments as we did last year? This is a fantastic question, and my answer is 100% yes. Guys, if we're being honest, the whole front office operation last year, or the lack thereof of a front office, it was an absolute joke. It rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, including agents, parents, and even players. We were so far behind the times, it is not even funny. I mean, guys, we're going from Dave Emmerich to Chad Bowden. There is not a bigger upgrade in the world of college football at any position, maybe in the last 10 years, but certainly in this offseason, no way. It's pretty much the equivalent of going from Clay Helton to Lincoln Riley. That's actually a very good comparison. Chad is quite simply one of the best at what he does. Dave Emmerich was quite simply one of the worst at what he did. Not to mention all the support staff that Chad is bringing in with him. This is a group that's going to know what they're doing, they're going to do it in a professional manner, and they're going to have a laid out plan of who to target, how to target them, and how to interact with them in these negotiations. They're going to return phone calls, which yeah, that wasn't happening at USC this last year. And quite simply, they're just professionals. I'm more excited about the USC front office than I am any other part of this program right now. Of course, it is 2025 in college football, so of course, any commitment we get, be ready for it at any time to completely fall apart. That's just the world we live in. But whereas with the previous people that were in control, whenever we would get a commitment, I would kind of operate under the notion that they weren't going to be there at the end. This time, I think we should have a little bit of confidence about us. I have full faith in Chad and his staff going forward. I'm not going to doubt them until they give me a reason to. So fantastic question. Hopefully I gave you an answer somewhere in there. Next up, from Willie Trojan over on YouTube, he asked, what's the USC content creator community like? Are you friends with any of the other channels? I absolutely love this community. And I absolutely love questions like this because it gives me the chance to shout out some other channels. First, I got to shout out Tim and Preston from the Conquest Collins Show. These are two of the best people in the entire business. Tim truly is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I really appreciate everything he does as a content creator. The Collins Show was a genius idea. No one else had that idea in this space. He was the first one to do that. But yeah, he's absolutely one of my best friends. Got so much good stuff to say about Tim. Preston is newer to the space, but he's on a rocket ship to the top. He does as good a job as anybody. One of the smartest guys we'll talk to in this space. Super funny, super friendly. Preston and Tim are always supporting other channels, always shouting people out on their show. Just two really good people. So make sure you're subscribing to both of their channels. They are linked down below. I also got to shout out the guys that light the torch. B. Jones, Gunnar, Brandon, and Raul. To me, their show is essentially four friends sitting in a bar talking USC football. It's funny. They're always interacting with the chat. And again, four of the nicest guys you're ever gonna meet. Our channels have always supported each other and shown so much love back and forth. Love those guys. I'm also friends with Ryan over at LAFB. They have a plethora of shows and styles of shows for you over there. Ryan has to be top 5 nicest humans I've ever met, and that comes through on camera. He's a very genuine person. He's always supported me. He's always been a friend. Huge fan of what they do over there. And then two other channels that aren't necessarily USC channels, but talk a lot of Trojan football. My man Big Ten Ted is one of the best people on YouTube. He deserves so many more subscribers than he has. He is rapidly ascending. I know he's gonna blow by me very soon, but man, he's so smart about football. He loves the Big Ten. And Ted, if you're listening, I know deep down you're a closet USC fan. You just need to come out, get it off your chest, and admit it to the world. We would love to have you over on this side of the fence. And I also want to shout out ROCBOYS Football. God knows they don't need my help promoting their channel. It's absolutely massive. But on the national scale, no one gets the Trojans like they do. They always nail it. And if you want a national voice that's going to talk about the Trojans and know what they're talking about and really have fan-like knowledge about our team, that is 100% the channel you need to go to. But yeah, the USC community on YouTube is awesome and it's still growing. There's new channels popping up all the time. If any of you want to start a channel or have questions about starting a channel, feel free to hit me up on Twitter. I would love to help you out and offer any advice I can. Next up from Caden King on Twitter, he says, what position coach do you think has been the best and worst in the Lincoln Riley era on both sides of the ball? So best, I'm gonna go with Keel McDonald, the running back coach that was here the first 2 years. I mean, he got those guys ready to go each and every week, thought he was a phenomenal coach. And defensively, I'm gonna say Coach Henney. The way the young guys showed such massive development at the end of the year, I really think that speaks to his level of coaching on the field. But yeah, now talking about the 2 worst. Defensively, deciding between Roy Manning and Dante Williams is pretty tough. I think I'm gonna lean towards Roy Manning, but man, Dante's right up there. And offensively, it's between Simmons and Henson, but honestly, I think they're both good coaches. So I guess I'll say Henson, but this is not at all like the defense where there's 2 clear-cut options. Next up, Aaron on YouTube asks, if our Jade Mayava improves drastically like arm accuracy and decision-making along with a top 15 offensive line, how far do you think we can go? Hypothetically, if we made it to the Big Ten Championship or first round playoffs, can we get a top 5 class? So the end of that question, absolutely not even a doubt about that. If we make it that far and don't get a top 5 class, I'll be stunned. But if Jaden Mayava takes steps and really develops that accuracy and decision making and he's getting good pass protection, the sky's the limit for him. Anyone that has questions about Jaden Mayava, including myself, it has not been about the talent. That's one of the strongest arms I've seen at USC in a long time. He can absolutely make any throw on the field. I mean, he's got a rocket launcher as a right arm. So if he can take those steps, and God knows we need him to, there is no limit to how good Jaden Mayava can be. A Grundy on YouTube asked, do you think we will be able to add any linebackers this spring portal? Or what type of players would you like to see us get in the portal? Do you think we can get any significant additions to our team in the spring portal with all these administrative and coaching additions? I absolutely do. I said it before, I'll say it again, I think this spring portal window is going to be the most important portal window since Lincoln Riley has been at USC. Yes, that even includes that first one. Because this team has a legitimate chance to do something special this year, but only if we go into the portal and get some more quality players. This roster is not ready to compete for a Big Ten title or a national title as it currently sits. In fact, I'm not even sure we make the playoff with this current roster. We absolutely need to get 1 or 2 linebackers. We need help on the offensive line. Another interior defensive lineman couldn't hurt. We need corners, yes, plural. We need a proven wide receiver, and I really think we should consider adding a quarterback. At this point, I'm not comfortable with Mayava or Longstreet. You guys know if I had to pick, I am leaning towards Longstreet, but I don't feel great about it. The kid's a true freshman. So yeah, absolutely think we need to make a splash, and I believe we're going to as well. Kebwe on the Trojan Blade Discord asked, should I text her? Man, life isn't just gonna sit around and wait for you to make the first move, man. If you want to text her, text her. Absolutely shoot your shot, be confident in yourself, and everything will work out in the end. That's right, bet you didn't think that the Trojan Blade specializes in dating advice, but here we are. Next up, we have IDK on the Trojan Blade Discord, and he asks, what's your ranked hate list of Oregon, Utah, UCLA, and Notre Dame? As you can see, we are very serious over on the Trojan Blade Discord. Out of those, going most hate to least hate, Notre Dame has to be first. They aggravate me, they sicken me, and yeah, they just have to be number 1. I do not care that I am of Irish descent. They are truly a despicable program. Next up, it's going to be Oregon. We all know the reasons why. No history. They have nothing to offer recruits except for uniforms and money. That's the way it is. That's the way it'll always be. They finally get on a big stage this year after talking all this crap the entire year, and they get absolutely blasted by Ohio State. That was hilarious to watch. But yeah, they're number 2. The Baby Bruins are number 3. Normally, they would be higher up on the list, but guys, their head coach is a running back coach. This is not a program that should be taken seriously. It's essentially a junior college at this point. So yeah, I hate them, but as they descend more and more into irrelevance, they are also descending down my hate list as well. And then last up is Utah. When we were in the Pac-12, they might have been 1 or 2 on this list, but now that that whole feud is over, I can fully admit that they got us. They beat us in those last 3 games. Where there's some different circumstances to why we lost, yeah, of course. But you check the history books and they have those 3 wins. When you're not in direct conflict with them, they're actually a very fun fan base to hang out with and just talk football with in general. So yeah, they're definitely 4 for me on this list. And last up from Rich over on Twitter, he says, you're killing it, man. Keep up the great content. As I'm sure you guys could imagine, being a content creator on YouTube comes with a lot of negativity, whether it's name calling, insults. I've gotten double-digit death threats in my time doing this on YouTube. So when there is a positive complimentary comment like this, it really stands out. Shout out to you, Rich. Thank you for the kind words. And that goes for anyone that has left a positive comment. I read every single comment on every single video. Even if I don't respond to you, know that your comment is being read. But yeah, I really enjoy these positive ones. And again, thank you, Rich. But guys, that is going to conclude episode 22 of the viewer comment series. If If you did happen to enjoy it, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for all the support. You're all awesome, and as always, take care and fight on.